Hello? Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. Today I'm going to be talking about speed. More specifically about speed for cross-chain. But I'm going to detour a little bit first because speed is a pretty interesting topic and very important in this incredibly instant world that we live in. So first of all, my name is Christina. I'm one of the co-founders of Squid. And here we go. So when I first started going to conferences in 2018, there was this huge thing everyone was always talking about, which was the trilemma. It's like, how do we solve for scalable, fast, and secure systems? And to this day and age, we've done a pretty good job at it. The problem is that we've solved for it in different ways. And by that, we've created a new problem. So we have secure systems, but they're not necessarily that good at talking to each other in a fast way. But we're getting close. We're getting pretty close, especially with what we built. But I'll get to that later. So before I get into speed, I'm going to do a Swift detour. So most of you have probably heard about Swift. So what Swift really is, it's a messaging network that connects all the financial, or most of the financial institutions in the world, 11,000 of them, in fact. And it processes 1.7 trillion in US dollar value every day on average. Of course, this greatly varies. But what's pretty crazy is that it's a EU compliant network that is governed by the majority of the Western central banks. And it holds the power to censor and control entire national economies, individuals, and institutions, which really is the epitome of censorship. So just a little note on financial censorship before we go into speed. And no, so what I was going to say as well is that even though this holds this much power, they're still not able to do anything faster than 1 to 5 business days unless you are incredibly capital-intensive player with a trusted counterparty. So it goes without saying how that works. So back to crypto, which of course is a fantastic tool to counteract a player like this. And why is it so hard for us to create fast, or not create speed, but do things that are really, really fast? Well, it's because it comes at the cost of security. So blockchains are not designed to be fast. They're designed to be secure. And the more players and the more stakeholders, arguably the more validators you have, it gets hard to do things fast. You always have the ability to do something fast if you just reduce the amount of players. For example, you can have 5 validators, or what someone will call a server, and it's very easy to do things fast. But as you've all probably seen, this comes at the cost of security, and time on time, people compromise on this because there is so much capital, there's so many users to be won, and it's just not a long-term solution for obvious reasons. And like I said earlier, you can also enable this by having trusted counterparties and just not having design principles that are not on par with what we're trying to build. But overall, you guys have probably tried to use the early bridging solutions, and it's when does your funds arrive? You don't really know. Could be an hour, could be never. Time will tell. But overall, the uncertainty that introduces may be okay for some hardcore believers, but if we're going to reach the adoption that we want and need, you can't have those kind of delay times. It's completely insane. And also for businesses, the opportunity cost of capital, and individuals, of course, is incredibly important to think about. If we're going to build for sophisticated use cases, you can't take more than milliseconds, really, but we'll get to that. So just a little note on the state of speed. Typically, the more secure, the longer it takes, right? So to this right now, so Squid, for example, we're connected to 44 chains, and the average is around 20 minutes. but that is before Squid Speed Boost. So Squid Speed Boost is a new feature that we've developed alongside Axelar, and it gets all transactions down to less than 20 seconds. We do have some transactions down to 1 second, and we're working on the ability to actually get them even lower than that, but on average, it's around 11. And importantly as well, this all happens in 1 click, which is a huge UX improvement and super exciting. So how this actually works, so first of all, it's an overlay to Axelar's general message passing, which Squid uses, and it consists of smart contracts and a off-chain relay service. So when you, as a user, you want to do a swap from source and destination chain, when your swap is picked up, there is a backend relay service that fulfills a transaction on your behalf on the destination chain, which is really cool because that means that they also take on the risk and it's even more secure, meaning that we've achieved speed without compromising on security. And if for some reason, which there can be plenty, this fails, it will just go back to the normal and standard process. So we've just launched this, and initially it's built with one service provider that's whitelisted, but this can be expanded over time and decentralized further. So this actually means, on average, that it's a 60x improvement. In some instances, it's a 1000x improvement, and I think this really opens the door for not just innovating on what we've already done, but like a lot of new use cases. As you guys probably can imagine, if you're on Twitter and it takes 10 minutes for your tweet to upload, or even for someone to see someone else's tweet, you're never going to open that app ever again. So this will not only lead to new users, but hopefully more retention and overall present a really big UX unlock. To commemorate this fantastic thing, we've just launched the Squid Speed Boost Grand Prix, which is a 2-week competition where we are going to crown the fastest swapper, the swapper that has saved the most time. The one on the leaderboard right now has already saved 5 days, and in total we've saved like 520 days, which is amazing. And everyone can join, and you can win merch, money, and that's it. And here's my Twitter, our Discord, and the link to the Speed Boost Grand Prix. Thank you so much. I think I went under.
Anybody has a question?
Very clear.
Yeah.
Just a quick question about the reliability of the speed. You said less than 20 seconds. Does that mean for all use, or are there some fringes that are longer? Because I think we discussed just earlier how hard it is when there's like very little on the upper bound. Do you have like a cap on the time?
So it's always less than 20 seconds because that's dependent on the smart contracts and the service provider, and they can always fulfill it in less than 20, and that's the max. And on average, it's 10 to 12. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.